Hi, welcome to Let's Cook today. Now, the title of today's show is The Roots of Radishes. Now, radishes are actually a root, and they're a lot of different varieties. They go way back. There were some inscriptions on the walls in Egypt where the slaves actually built the pyramids are gone now, but where radish was a major part of their diet. And they're related to horseradish or the turnip family as well. Now, this is a black radish right here. Now, if I take this black radish and I just wash it and I don't peel it, I can actually end up with the strips of the black left on the radish. I'm actually going to use this radish today. I'm going to take a black radish, which has a very great texture to it, and I'm going to combine it with some fennel and some cooked red bliss potatoes, and then we're going to flavor it with dill, because the dill will go real good with that, to make a delicious potato, radish, and fennel salad. We're also doing a pan-seared oyster with a daikon, again another radish, and mushroom ragu. And last, a pan-roasted chicken breast with braised radishes. We're going to take a little break, and then when we come back, I'm going to show you exactly how to make a delicious potato, radish, and fennel salad. Don't go anywhere. It's the Roots of Radishes today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome to the Roots of Radishes today on Let's Cook. Now, we're going to make a potato salad today using this black radish that I have right here. And actually on the cutting board here, now we have black, then we have the red radish here. I also have a daikon, which is also a radish that we're using. And you can see that all the great texture in each one. Some of these will be a little bit firmer. They'll have a little bit more texture. Some will be sweeter. Some will have a little bit more heat. But they're great in the summer. Now, what I have in the pot right here is I just took some of the black radish that I diced up and I blanched it, which means I cooked in a little bit of salted water here. Now I'm going to shock this. Now, I'm actually breaking a little bit of a rule here, because normally when I take a root vegetable and I blanch it, when I shock it, I just put it into the refrigerator, because the general rule of thumb is that when you blanch anything that grows below the ground, you just shock it with temperature, not necessarily water. If it grows above the ground, then it's okay to go ahead and shock it with water. Now, fennel here. You have this lovely licorice flavor from the fennel. What we're going to do with the fennel is I'm just going to take the fennel, and I'm actually going to cut it like an onion. So I'll just take it down this way. I'll just take my knife through once this way. Then I'll bring it across a few times this way, and I'm just going to rough chop this. The fennel is also going to get blanched. So we'll just, and I already have some cut up right here. So I'm just going to take the fennel here, drop this in the water, and we're going to lightly blanch this too. And then we also have to shock that as well. So we'll just drop that in the water, and we blanch that. Now, while that's getting blanched, in my bowl right here, I have some red bliss potatoes. What I did is I left the skin on these, and I cooked them till they were all the way through. Then I quartered them. Let's go ahead and get our fennel out now too, because our fennel's good to go too. And this is, again, just by blanching it, I know that I'm removing some of the water-soluble vitamins, but it's going to make the salad more digestible. Next thing that I'm going to do is I'll just take my cutting board right here, where I have these vegetables that are now blanched and well shocked, nicely cooled down. And I'll take these, I'm going to put them on a paper towel or any kitchen towel that you have, and I'm going to remove any of the excess moisture that's on them. This way, when I dress the salad, I'm not going to dilute the flavor. Mix these in with the potatoes. This will also prevent it from oxidizing. Now, this salad is a terrific salad, because this salad you can actually make in the summer. There's no mayonnaise, there's no dairy in this at all, so it's going to last a little longer in the heat of the summer. Now, the other thing we have to do is I have some dill here. The dill is going to nicely flavor this. I'm just going to take the dill and take my knife across it, maybe once this way, once this way. That's it. So we get a nice dill flavor in there. Put our dill right into the salad. Now we can make the dressing right in the salad here. Why? Because it's not mayonnaise based, it's not dairy based, which means that the first thing I'll do is a little white balsamic vinegar here. No sugar in this. Now I'm using some safflower oil, which is extremely light. We'll season this now with salt and black pepper. There we are. Great. And then we just toss this together. Delicious radish, potato, and fennel salad with dill. Again, very friendly for the summer. A lot of nice flavors going on here. Out of this world. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this now, plate this up on this plate, and then I will do a little bit of a garnish on this too. I have a little bit of time left in this segment. So to garnish this, whether it be with a sprig of the fennel or the dill, doesn't matter. I can also take one of my red radishes right here. I'm going to take this red radish right here, just for a little color on it. Take this off. Then I'm going to cut it down in very thin slices this way. Then take these very thin slices, put them on top of each other. And then I'm going to do a very, very fine julienne. Doesn't that look cute? Now, somebody's going to eat these, so a little bit of salt on there, a little bit of pepper on there as well, and then we'll just put this on top as a nice little garnish. Let's go ahead and take a little break, and then when we come back, we're going to pan-sear some oysters and serve that with a mushroom daikon ragu. It's the Roots of Radishes today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to the Roots of Radishes today on Let's Cook. Now, the next item that we're making is where we're going to do a mushroom daikon ragu. So in this pan right here, I have some mushrooms that I've pre-sauteed. And all I did is you can see that they're a little soft, they're a little limp, there's no daikon in there yet. First thing I have to do to flavor this is I'm going to put in a little bit of slivered garlic. So we're just slivering the garlic here, nice and thin. Make sure that garlic's nice and thin. I'll do it a little slower so you can see. We really want the garlic to be nice and thin. Good. So I'll take some garlic. I'm going to add some garlic to this. Now the other thing that I'm adding is I'm adding some daikon radish to this. This is what the daikon looks like. It's important that you peel the daikon. So just take the peeler and you're just going to peel off the outside of this. There we are. So we just peel our daikon down here, and then we're going to dice this up. Now, this does contain a lot of water, so if you'd like, what you can do with this is you can go ahead and take this and salt it almost like you would eggplant, just to dry it out a little bit. It will absorb water, so you do need to make sure you have some salt in that water. Then I'll just take this, and I'm going to small dice this. So cut down one side. That way your radish will sit on a nice flat side. You can cut it down this way. And again, it's wet like a potato, but it's not nearly as starchy. We cut this down into strips this way. Then we take our strips and we're just going to small dice it. You'll notice when I'm cutting things that I'll take and I'll complete one aspect of the cut before I go to the next aspect. And that way I'm just going to end up with a lot more consistency in what my cutting is in the kitchen. Okay, now my radishes are ready to go. I've extracted some flavor from the garlic here. To this now we're going to add our radishes. Beautiful. Along with those radishes, I have a little bit of hoisin sauce here. I'm going to put in some hoisin sauce there. Just a little bit. Give it nice flavor. Then our chicken stock. Just a little bit of chicken stock here. Oops, wrong one. Here's my chicken stock. Just a little chicken stock. And we're going to let this ragu simmer. Then we finish this with a little bit of julienne of daikon and scallion. Now, the next thing we have to do is we have to fry our oysters. Now, I have some beautiful, look at these beautiful oysters, and they're all shucked and they're whole. They're not cut in half, beautiful. So I take these oysters, which I've seasoned with a little bit of salt and pepper. I'm going to drop them in flour. Then from the flour, I'm going to put them in an egg wash right here. And from the egg wash, making sure that they're nice and wet here now. So you want them well, see how they're well coated with the egg? I'm going to dredge them in some cornmeal now. But again, this is messy, but I'll just drop these right in some white cornmeal that I have here. And I'll get them all in there, but then because what I'm going to do with my hands, because we always want to keep one hand wet and one hand dry, I'll dry my hands off now so that the cornmeal doesn't really stick to them. And I'm just going to take and toss these around, making sure that they're very well coated with the cornmeal and there are no wet spots. Okie dokie. Now, my oil, to test the oil to make sure it's hot enough, I'll just take a little bit of cornmeal. I'll drop it in. See how it, let's just show you that again. See how that just immediately starts? Drop these in the oil. Now, the oysters do not take long to cook at all, so, and I will also make sure that I keep about a ½ inch in between each one of them before, but I won't overcrowd the pan, because otherwise if I overcrowd the pan, what will end up happening is they will, the oil will cool down too much and it really won't work. So let's get this out of the way here, this out of the way here. I'm going to bring a plate over here so that I can remove them as soon as they're done, because we don't want them to overcook. And you can see here, look. Now be careful with oysters when you're pan frying them like this, because the oysters, they contain a lot of water, and sometimes they'll just spit back at you where they'll explode a little bit based on how much water they have present. So these are good to go. Oh, the smell, the cornmeal, it's going to produce such a great flavor with this daikon ragu. Now let's go back to our ragu here, because this is good to go. Beautiful. Okay, now, based on the thickness of my ragu here, I've cooked this doesn't really need to be cooked down. If I needed to thicken this a little bit, I would use cornstarch, but this will work just great for it. Now, my ragu is ready. My oysters are now ready to come out. So we'll take our oysters out right away. Now we're actually ready to plate this now. So, have my oysters here. Shut this down right here. Onto my plate right now, let's just shut this down. Onto my plate right now, I'm just going to take my ragu, set up right in the middle of the plate there. Oh God, doesn't that look great? Then, we'll take our oysters, and we'll take these, and we're just going to make sure that there's no oil on them, but you can see how the breading is really sticking to them nicely. Not too oily at all, you'll notice. And I can feel these. You can't feel these with your hands, but I can, and they're very, very dry. They're not oily at all, which means that the oil was just at the right temperature. Put these right, if you like oysters. And again, you know, a lot of times they say in the summer months that if there's not an R in the month, don't eat oysters, but a lot of them are now cultivated, so it's okay to eat them. Now, to finish this, or to garnish this, is what we're going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of this daikon here. With my peeler, I'm just going to peel off some real thin pieces like this. See how thin I get that? Nice and thin. So I have some daikon there. Then I'll take a little bit of scallion here too. I'm only going to use the green part of the scallion here, where I take this and I cut it very, very thin, real nice and thin. Take a little bit of daikon here too. Very, 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 very thin. Then I take this, kind of mix it together, put it in a little bit of ice water, and what will end up happening is it'll do this. It'll get really nice and crisp, like a beautiful salad right here. Take this, too much there, always a little bit right on top, and of course, maybe a little bit of parsley too. There we have our delicious pan-fried oysters with a wonderful mushroom and daikon ragu. We're going to take a little break, and then when we come back, right in this pan over here, I have a delicious pan roasted chicken breast with braised radishes. Doesn't that look great? We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Let's Cook. Now, today we're working with radishes, and the next item I'm making is actually we're using chicken and radishes and also some citrus. Let's just go over the ingredients for this delicious pan-roasted chicken breast with braised radishes. I have my chicken breast here. I also have some common red radishes here. I'm using some grapefruit and some orange. I have some julienne radish here, a little lemon juice. We're using chicken stock, salt, and pepper. What a great summer dish. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to heat my pan, and into my pan right now, I'm going to put just enough oil to go to the bottom of the pan. The oil is starting to ribbon here, and I actually want this oil to start to smoke before I drop the chicken into it. Next step I'm doing is I'm going to take my chicken, and I'm going to season it with sea salt or kosher salt and a little bit of black pepper. So, and look, you know, I spread the pepper on there before, but I want everybody to know I have a pepper mill too, so I could use a pepper mill if I wanted to. That really brings out the flavor of the pepper. You know, when you first crack it, the oils come out nice. Now look at my pan. My pan is now really starting, see how it's like the oil is starting to say, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. That's what, I'm ready. So that's what it's doing. So I'll take my chicken breast, skinless, boneless. I'm going to drop this down, and I'm going to sear this. And by searing, it means I'm going to brown it very well on both sides. So, just going to take the chicken breast. You don't really want to move it around. You really want it to brown nicely on both sides. This is not brown enough. Once it's browned really nicely on both sides, I already have one in the oven. I'm going to show you that I seared, and then I put in the oven to finish cooking. Oh, beautiful. Now look, here we go now. You can see the difference here. You see, first of all, these were the same size breasts, and you can see how the breast has shrunk down here now. Okay, that's actually browned enough. That's good enough for me because I'm going to actually take this down, pop this into the oven. So we'll put that one there. Going to pop this in the oven, because you would let it finish cooking in the oven that way. Now, the next step that we're going to do is we have two things we have to do. One, we have to remove our chicken breasts from the pan here. So I'm just going to take this chicken breast right out of the pan here, put this on the side over here, and I could actually finish these in the oven if they weren't totally done. Remember, I want them to be 165 degrees, so I can finish them in the oven, but if they're cooked all the way, I don't have to worry about it. In the bottom of the pan now here, I'm taking this pan out of the oven. I have to be careful, but I have a lot of flavor there from the chicken. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pour off the majority of the fat that was in there. Just going to leave a little bit there. Then I'm going to add my radishes to this. I'm going to take the radishes, and notice how shiny they get. Don't they look great? Now, once they get to this point right here, where they've released all that liquid, and I've actually, and you could brown these too, but you don't really have to because I'm using a nice brown chicken stock, a roasted chicken stock. I'm going to put a little bit of chicken stock in there. Let them braise. Now, as they cook, this is actually, let me take this chicken breast out of this one because I have one where the radishes are already done, but you can see this pan right here. What will end up happening? The radishes will, see how they've cooked down, they've gotten nice and soft. We have the sauce itself has gotten much richer. So now that's my sauce to go with my chicken. The only thing I have to add now is I'm going to put in a splash of lemon juice in here. In addition to that, I'm going to add my citrus, my lemons, my orange sections, and my grapefruit sections. Now, there we are. All we have to do is heat those up now. While that's heating up, I'll take my chicken breast right over here, and I'm just going to slice it so I get a great presentation today. So I'll just take the chicken breast. I'm just going to cut it down this way. Beautiful. Bring my plate right up here. Look. Then we'll take our chicken breast. We're just going to fan it out just a little bit here as we place it onto the plate. See how nice that looks? Beautiful chicken breast. And then, of course, we have our sauce right here, which is now good to go. So, this is a beautiful citrus and radish braised radishes with a pan-roasted chicken breast. Doesn't this look great? Absolutely out of this world. Now we'll just take a little bit of the sauce here right on top of this. Beautiful. And then to finish this, because it does have the red radishes, I have a little bit of julienne red radish right here as well. You know, radishes are really good for you. They come out in the summer. They're with us all summer, out of this world. Thank you for watching the Roots of Radishes today on Let's Cook, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.